Joining us now, well, I'm at the across the street from the White House. He's down the street in the Capitol. Scott Taylor, Republican, Congressman, 2nd District of Virginia. That's Virginia Beach, the Peninsula, Eastern Shore. And I got to tell this, he's also become one of my very good friends, and he's doing a great job, and we love having him on every week. And former Navy SEAL, Scott Taylor, good to have you with us, man.
Good morning, John. How are you?
Also, I want to give you a shout out here. Your personal advocacy and endorsement of House of Delegates candidate Republican John McGuire in the 56th District in the Western Henrico Goochland area, I believe, put him over the top. And so you said you'd back him, and you did, and he won. And you know what? You're continuing to get allies all over the place, Scott.
Well, he's a good man. You know, he's obviously a former military man and business guy, and he's going to work really hard. I know that, and he'll represent those folks really well up there. And you know, so I was happy to back him.
Okay, so the Senate today releases. Last night they released a draft of the Obamacare repeal menagerie, whatever it is. They finally get that out. It's going to be attacked, of course, by everybody. Where are we on this? I mean, Obamacare is imploding. The president just went to Iowa yesterday. There's no exchange players in Iowa. They don't have any. They're all gone. Aetna's pulling out. Obamacare is going down the tubes. Where are we with this, Congressman?
Well, yeah, as you know, in Virginia we lost two insurers about a month ago or something like that. So, yeah, I believe, I'm optimistic the Senate will vote on their version prior to August recess. And I'm an optimist by nature anyway, but I think that they will. But as you know, it's the legislative process. We put ours forth. They'll put. I think that we will get a repeal and replace of Obamacare this year for sure, and hopefully tax reform as well.
All right. One of your colleagues up the road in North Carolina, Walter Jones, has put in House Bill 1664. He heard you were coming on today, and he wanted me to ask you specifically, as a former Navy SEAL, do you believe that the Congress has the authority to declare these wars, reauthorize AUMF, authorization of military force, in view of the fact we're sending 4,000 troops to Afghanistan, we're shooting Syrian planes out of the sky? What is your position, Scott
I've
Taylor,
been very vocal for a couple of years now. This is the second off a third administration's 16-year-old authorization of use of military force, and to me that is absolutely unacceptable. I think Walter's correct. I think that the Congress, I think the American people via the representatives have to have a debate. You know, we're putting 4,000 more troops in Afghanistan. We're in Syria. We're in Libya. We're in Yemen. We're in Somalia. We're in Iraq. Yes, I agree with the congressman. I think it's time for Congress to get out of the weeds, to debate this, to figure out where we need to go as a nation. And request a strategy, quite frankly, of where I don't know where it will ultimately end up in terms of the debate and where we are, but it's important that we have that debate. There's no question. I agree with him.
Right, have the debate, and then you can vote like Walter Jones says. Have the debate, and then vote no. I mean, or vote the other way. Do whatever you want, but have the discussion. I think that's the key.
Too. Be accountable. As you know very well, John. In our area, no matter something happens around the world, there. So, there's an extraordinary sacrifice that has happened in our area with our service members and their families and our community. Mm-hmm. And a lot of American people have not been in that sacrifice, if you will. So they're sort of relieved from it. But that does not give leaders in Congress an excuse not to have that debate, not to do the responsible thing, and quite frankly, via the Constitution, what they're supposed to be doing. So I agree with Walter. I've been very clear about that. And I don't know where the debate will end up, but it needs to happen. There's no question.
Congressman Scott Taylor, you're on the Appropriations Committee. By the way, I think you're the only freshman in history, to be honest. So big feather in your cap. You're
from Virginia.
First one from Virginia. You're on the Appropriations Committee. We appreciate that. Trump submitted a budget. Trump submitted a tax reform package. Where's all this stuff? I can't find anybody carrying a bill for the wall. I can't find anybody in the House carrying Trump's tax reform package. Paul Ryan, your leader, says he has his own. I can't find anybody carrying the Trump budget down there. Why do they even bother to come out with it?
We're a little bit. To be fair, the budget, there hasn't been a president's budget that's been passed into law in the history of the nation. So, but it gives you a reflection of where the administration is, what they want to see there for sure. We're a little bit late getting that budget. The appropriations process has started. We're also waiting for our own budget committee to give us top line numbers, if you will. As you know, they'll do the budget top line numbers, and the appropriations will start based on those top line numbers to start marking up bills. We have started that process, but we're still waiting for the top line number itself. On the wall itself, the president, from Homeland Security, we actually have a plus up from the 2017 appropriations that we passed. Actually, has the biggest increase in Department of Homeland Security in the last 10 years. So in this new one, we'll see where it goes. We're starting markups right now, but we haven't marked up the Homeland Appropriations bill itself yet. And that's all happening now. We're trying to figure out and trying to get it done as quick as we can to get back to regular order, so there's not continuing resolutions. But quite frankly, we're a little bit behind because the president's budget itself was a little bit late, and then we had the healthcare debacle, the first piece of that.
Right.
So, in my opinion, though, look, I'm for working our asses off and getting it done. I don't want to take breaks. I want to get it done.
Okay, let's get to the break you mentioned. As you know, your colleague Rob Whitman has been all over this forever. He's been blowing this trumpet for some time, and now you got others jumping on board saying, look, everything is behind. There's no time for a recess. Stay there, get all this stuff done, have your debates, have your committee meetings, get this done, rather than have the post-July 4th congressional summer break. Right thing to do?
Yes and no. Yes, meaning, okay, so a break, when you hear break, I never have breaks. You know what I mean? So whether it's like a break or something, I'm still working in the district. I'm not for just making people stay back for no reason. But if there is work to do, like I don't want all Congress to sit here and wait for a vote that might happen 3 weeks later when they're not in the committee of jurisdiction doing the work. But if they're like myself, appropriations committee, if there's appropriations work to do, I'm all for it. Okay, let's stay here. Let's get the damn work done. Bring people back to vote on it. I'm not for just the facade of, stay here and do nothing, basically. No, I'm not for that. But I am for, if there is work to be done, stay here and do the work. And that's not all of Congress. That's probably the Budget Committee. That's probably Appropriations Committee. And then bring people back to do the votes. That's where I'm at with that.
All right. But basically what you're saying is we need to get this job done.
If you're on the Ag Committee and there's no work to be done, I don't see the point of keeping you here for a month for you to wait around just to do a vote. That's a waste of time. But if you're on a committee that has work to do that can be done, absolutely. And that includes myself because I'm on appropriations, and there's definitely appropriations work to be done. So that means we stay here and don't go back to districts in August. Cool. I'm all for it.
All right.
Some of that's political, John, as you know. People are like some of the same people that are saying, cancel the August recess and stay here and work. They really don't want to. They're just saying it. So I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
There are definitely people doing that.
And look, I mean, you have to go back and talk to your constituents, have town hall meetings, get input. So we get that. But I think there is now a sense of urgency in the president trying to get some of this stuff done. Let me get your take on something, Scott. Scott Taylor, Ford Motor Company moving its fusion plant to China. Okay, now, when the president first got elected, they were going to go to Mexico. They freaked out. They stopped it. Trump called them up. They were afraid they were going to get a tariff. 6 months later, they're going to China. They can say, we can save $1 billion in labor costs. Why hire U.S. workers? Is this a signal from the Ford Motor Company executives that they don't really believe this president is going to get anything done, that they don't believe there's any backlash here? Be candid.
Do I think that the Ford Motor Company believes this president's not going to get something done?
They just moved a Ford plant. They announced they're going to put it in China. They're going to save $1 billion in labor cost. Screw the American worker. Do they believe now that there's going to be no backlash? There's going to be no tariffs. There'll be no change in U.S. trade policy. What do you think?
I can't speak for them, but I'm pretty sure this president's going to get some stuff done. So that would be at their own peril, I think, if they don't think that the president's going to get some stuff done. So, I think that there's a push here. We're going to get tax reform. There's no question about it. In terms of whether it's to incentivize companies not to go overseas or it's punitive, I don't know how that's all going to shake out politically, but I wouldn't underestimate the president. I think that would be a mistake.
All right, Scott Taylor, let's get to these Russian collusion investigations. Now they're expanding. Mueller now investigating God knows what, Jared Kushner's companies. You've been a part of this. You're not part of the Intel Committee, obviously, but you know what's going on. Witch hunt or real? Which is it?
I think, okay, let me preface this by saying the bigger issue here is the fact, and this was to the Secretary of Homeland, the previous one, Johnson, testified yesterday, saying that they knew that there was widespread Russian attempts for the government of Russia attacking this election last summer. And so that is negligence. They weren't doing everything they could to protect this nation, and even publicly saying that and making sure that states were ready. That is a failure of duty. Instead, of course, they've used it as a political hammer to attack the president after the election. That is some BS right there. But let me say, I think that the American public, I think they tuned into the first season of the Russian reality show, but I don't think they're going to tune into the second one. I think that it's overblown. I think that they're going down a rabbit hole here. And are there a couple people that may get in trouble because they lied about disclosures? Yeah, probably. But I think nothing's going to come out of this at all. And I think what's happening, I think that the Democrats are really overplaying their hand. The American public's getting exhausted listening to it. They don't give a crap about some of this collusion stuff, which, of course, Comey's testimony blew a hole into that. But I think the bigger issue here is, what are you going to do to have a policy to punish and prevent nations from doing this in the future? And that's what I'm focused on, and I think the American people would be as well, too. I think they're not tuning into that second season of the Russian reality show.
Well, look, the president went to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, yesterday to have a rally. They had 25,000 people there. They had some people camped out for a day in order to get in. So obviously this is having very little effect with his base. But on the other hand, he has to get things done. There's no question about it. What is
my advice to the president would be just, as they did with the White House press corps, where they're not answering Russian questions, they like speak to outside counsel. He should do the same thing. He should just let it go, because American people largely are tired of hearing about it, because there's nothing there.
And there isn't anything there.
And there's been investigations. There's 4 investigations going on right now, and nothing's come out of it.
Nothing's come out of it, right? There's absolutely no evidence of any wrongdoing by anybody in anything at all. And so I think it is getting
the notion, it's hilarious. It's obstruction of justice, because the president was like, I hope you take it easy on Flynn. I hope you do. Never mind, with the Clinton, when with the bleaching of emails, with hammering of phones, with the attorney general meeting with the Clinton on the tarmac, and you're like, oh, well, President Trump said he hopes you take it easy on him. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous.
It is so ridiculous. Part of this investigation, a lot of people are saying, when are we going to find the leakers? Is that going to be part of it? Do you have any sense that it might go in that direction, Scott Taylor?
You never know. I think, Mueller, obviously there are these reports on what he's doing, what he's not doing, but I haven't heard him say anything. So I really just don't know. I hope so, because those things, leaks should be, obviously people should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, because it undermines not just the president politically, but it undermines the whole system. So I think that they should be routed out, prosecuted, and held accountable for the leaks. There's no question.
All right, I got 2 minutes. I'm going to ask you a political question. So change hats here a minute. Can Ed Gillespie win in Virginia?
As you know, the population of Virginia is northern Virginia, down the Crescent, down into Hampton Roads. Ed Gillespie can win. He can. He's got to do really well in Hampton Roads. We're going to be doing everything we can to help him out, but he's got to have a good turnout there to counteract northern Virginia. But I also would advise him to don't be afraid to go into minority communities, Latino communities, Indian communities, Korean communities in northern Virginia as well too, because that culturally they believe what we believe. We need to show them that we care. We need to show them we want to be there. And so I think that he can make inroads there in Northern Virginia. And then I think that he needs to focus on Hampton Roads to bump up that turnout to be able to win. But I think that he can win.
Scott, a week ago, Ed Gillespie campaign did not connect with Trump voters. The majority of those went to Stewart. That's why the race was so close. What does he have to do to get those people that voted for Stewart that are your core Trump voters. How does he get those back into the fold?
Well, I mean, you have a binary choice. It's Ralph Northam or it's Ed Gillespie. Period. That's what it is now. But he needs to show them that he cares about them too, right? You know, and that he will fight for what they believe in as well. And that's certainly up to Ed to be able to connect with them. You know, he needs them, and we need them. Republicans, we need them. We need to be unified moving forward to be able to win. If not, we will have a continuation of the McAuliffe regime. We will have Ralph Northam and everything that comes with that. So I think it's important that he connects with them, that he shows them that he cares, and I think it's important for Corey Stewart supporters out there to come say, listen, this is a binary choice. It's important for them to come to the table too, because this affects all of our futures in Virginia.
All right, we're out of time. I want to thank Congressman Scott Taylor for being with us, Republican, Virginia Beach, former Navy SEAL, 2nd District. You can get more information at
ScottTaylor.us.
ScottTaylor.us. Yeah, that. You know what? It's so easy. I don't remember it. I would say it can't be that easy. It is. It's that easy. ScottTaylor.us. ScottTaylor.us. Scott, thanks for being with us. We'll catch up with you very, very soon. Thank you.